If the freezing of truckers' bank accounts, the quest to criminalize dissent and censor us online, or watching churches burn across the nation hasn't woken you up to the parallels of communism in Canada yet, then this latest attack, that to our property rights, should. I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News, bringing you an urgent call to act against that threat to all Canadians in the form of a petition that you should sign and share today at our website called endlandgrabs.com. Here's why. By now, many of you have heard of the BC Supreme Court's Cowichan Tribes v. Canada ruling, which for the first time in Canadian history has declared Aboriginal title over some private fee simple lands within the city of Richmond. That's modern urban lands, including golf courses, condos, multi-million-dollar homes, regular homes bought by hardworking Canadians who have faithfully paid their taxes and mortgages for years, like this long-term Richmond resident who says now he may not even be able to renew his mortgage.
Do you have a mortgage on your property here in Richmond?
I do.
Have you spoken to your lender?
I have.
And what have they told you?
They are not renewing it.
Wow.
Surprised? You shouldn't be. Banks require clear title as collateral. Your home's title is the legal proof that you own it. And if that title has just been ruled defective and invalid and inferior to Aboriginal title by Justice Barbara Young, as is the case, well, then good luck convincing a bank to take the risk on you. And it's not just private homeowners, it's companies too. According to Richmond City Councillor Alexa Liu, a manufacturing company that's been doing business with the city for over 40 years, has just been denied $100 million in financing for a shovel-ready project to help create jobs and more due to the Cowichan Nation's land ruling. And how about those who are fighting that appeal, hey? You mean the governments, right? Canada and British Columbia, whose attorney generals both suspiciously failed to have their lawyers put forth the promising argument of Aboriginal title extinguishment when they were supposedly fighting hard for property rights on this case. Yeah, those governments, and of course, the city of Richmond, who joined those governments in completely leaving private landowners in the dark when their titles were being at risk over years of this case being argued. So much for putting the people first. Now, as shocking as it is, it really shouldn't be surprising because under the banner of reconciliation, a noble cause if that's actually what we're achieving, race-based laws and policies are creating a two-tiered society, especially in BC. Back in 2019, every single MLA in the BC legislature voted to take on an aspirational framework called the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, UNDRIP, and legislated as our own Declaration of Rights on Indigenous People Act called DRIPA. Now, you'll see UNDRIP quoted on community websites, in school board meetings, and even in the continuing education trainings for professionals, so that everybody can conform to the mold that the UN globalists have for what reconciliation should look like in countries they don't govern. Or do they? Canada followed suit and also adopted, but kept it aspirational. Unlike what happened in British Columbia, which became the first jurisdiction in the entire world to take it, make it legally binding, and make sure that we commit to having all of our laws conform to it. That includes points like this that say that Indigenous peoples have the right to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired, just like the Cowichan tribes used oral testimonies to argue that they used the Richmond land seasonally in the past to fish. Oh, and what does the NDP government, the one British Columbians are supposed to rely on to go to bat for them in defense of land rights in this appeal, think of DRIPA now that it's clear? With cases like this and the one of the Haida Gwaii title agreement that it sets the stage for land grabs. They love it. almost as much as they love citing UN-approved land acknowledgements that claim that their constituents live on unceded stolen land, even though mayors like Richmond's and Port Coquitlam's both acknowledge that such mantras are attached to legal risk due to title claims. In fact, the NDP loves DRIPA so much that right after their Attorney General Nikki Sharma attended Richmond's information session to promise Richmond residents that the NDP has their back on this case, she joined her party 2 days later to unanimously vote down one BC party's bill, which was supported by the BC Conservatives, and aimed to protect private property, including by mandating consultations with owners whose land is being claimed behind their back, and to repeal the UN-inspired DRIPA Act that's gotten us into much of this mess in the first place.
Members, the question is first reading of the bill, Intitual Property Rights Protection Act. All those in favor, please rise or indicate. Thank you. Be seated. Those who oppose, please rise or indicate. The motion is defeated.
Let's be real. Everyone, especially First Nation governments, know all too well that taking away land rights arbitrarily doesn't foster reconciliation tomorrow. It fosters resentment today. The kind of resentment that divides Canadians instead of bringing us together. And that's the type of reconciliation the NDP government is supporting. And that's why you need to act. Property rights are not just about owning a home. They're literally the backbone of the entire financial system. And if this land grab sticks, if the precedent becomes that private land title can be nullified after purchase, or that the UN can fuel us into losing parks, beaches, and forests, and all behind 95% of Canadians' backs, there will be a lot more land claims than there already are to follow across this entire country. And even if it doesn't stick, and no one's forced off their land, or this all just ends up being a big fat paycheck grab instead from the tax dollars years later, we find that out, the instability this ruling is causing right now is enough to already undermine confidence in the very foundation of our economy. The belief that hard work and you can own something and be happy. Go to endlandgrabs.com to sign and share our petitions and demand that our leaders truly defend our land rights by ending undripped laws and policies, ending those land acknowledgements that deny our sovereignty, and truly take a stand to protect our land rights. You stand for your land before it's too late. At Rebel News, we don't back down from bringing you the other side of the story, which is why, unlike the mainstream media, we've been talking about the issue of UNDRIP and land acknowledgement for years. Let's not keep people in the dark about this important issue anymore, because it could cost us Canada. Please go to
Is defeated.
landgrabs.com. Sign and share our petition today.